Okay, we are in Potrero Angelito Cordillera, right? This is Elijah Massey's site. Wave hello. And we're here to harvest some Avena Negra. So, when we're standing out here and looking at this, what do we have here? What's going on?
We are looking at lupino and Avena Negra that was planted in April of 2012. It's currently the last day of August.
Okay.
So, the Avena Negra is mature and the lupino is on its way.
Okay, and why did you decide to plant lupino alongside your Avena Negra?
Because according to the Abonos Verde manual that the Peace Corps has, lupino is a nitrogen fixer.
Okay.
But it doesn't do a very good job of covering the ground and therefore suppressing weeds. And Avena Negra, black oats, has a really good ability to create a dense, as you can see, kind of thick mat that suppresses not only weed germination, but also acts as really good mulch once you either tramp or cut it down.
Okay, so how do we know that this Avena Negra is ready to harvest?
The main indication is that not only the seed heads and the seed husks themselves have turned kind of a gold, like dry color, but also the stem, the stalk, is almost entirely the same mature kind of gold.
Okay.
If you look at this plant, for example, you can see that it's been drying, but it still has a lot of green, and the seed heads are just beginning to dry. If you look at this one down here, this one's even less mature and is obviously even more green.
Okay.
And so it's important that it's not just the seed heads that have dried, but that the stalk itself is drying.
Okay.
So that you can be sure that the seeds that you're harvesting are mature.
Okay.
And will actually germinate.
And how do we know necessarily, like, what conditions are ideal for harvesting seed?
It needs to be dry, and it needs to have been dry.
Okay.
So, for example, we haven't been able to harvest this particular plot. We could have harvested it up to 2 weeks earlier, but it's been cloudy and raining periodically. And because of that, even though the seed itself has been mature, the conditions haven't been optimal because the ground's been humid. There's been a lot of humidity with all of this dense cover, and so therefore, even though the seeds have been mature, if we would have harvested them before they had several days to dry, and in dry, like cloudless, nice breeze conditions today, even though the seeds were mature, if we had harvested them, they potentially would have rotted because they would have had too much humidity.
Okay, so how exactly do we go about harvesting this Avena Negra? Like, what's the step-by-step?
The step-by-step, it's really straightforward. It's a really easy plant, grass to save seed from. Really, all you do is grasp the plant on the stem below the seed heads and just pull towards you, and the mature seeds will slide off into your hand. You got a handful of seed. Put it in your bag. Okay. And move on to the next one.
Alrighty, so after a full day's work, well, not really a full day, but
full Paraguayan day.
We have 2 full bags of seed that needs to be cleaned and threshed. So that will be, I don't know, are we going to do that today?
We can do an example.
Alright. And we're left with just a field of lupino. We knocked down all of the Avena Negra for mulching for what are you going to plant next?
So,
Elijah, what are you doing?
I am attempting to separate the husks of the Avena Negra from the seeds, because we have done a really good job of harvesting it, but there's still a lot of feathery, leafy husk on the seed. Now we have the seed and the feathery husk that we are trying to separate by agitating it.
Okay.
Ideal for this would be a big, wide, shallow woven basket for winnowing, but any relatively shallow, flattish pan palangana will certainly suffice.
Okay.
And if there's a little bit of a breeze, which we don't have much of one today, That's a real aid to your action, but you can suffice with just your hands by tossing it gently.
So clean seed.
Clean seed, más o menos.
Magic. So now you're going to store this in a cool, dry place in an airtight bottle with maybe some ash to keep it dry.
Dark.
Oh yes, and in the dark. Very good. So hooray for saving seeds for next year. Yay! It's over.